Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Between the Sticks. I'm Sahib. This right here is Nabil. And the AFL season's over. We're into the off-season, Nabil, and we are excited for what's yet to come.
Yes, very, very excited.
Absolutely.
I can't wait. Love the off-season.
Yep.
It's always a good time. So a good time to reflect and also a good time to look at next season.
And look forward into the future. So we have a lot going on. We're excited about what's yet to come, obviously, with the off-season, with all the trade stuff, with all the free agency, the draft.
Yes.
See how your team and your list is going to change and all that kind of stuff. As always, a big shout out and a big thank you to everybody for tuning in and for getting on.
Share, subscribe.
Absolutely. We definitely have enjoyed this season, to say the least. And kind of all the ups and downs and everything that's kind of come with it has been actually really fun. So
yeah, it's been a journey, both the footy season and in terms of putting together this podcast. It's been a lot of fun. So we're not going away. We'll still be around during the off-season. It's not a goodbye. We'll still putting out weekly episodes. We'll still be covering content in the off-season. So we'll certainly be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to our official first off-season episode.
Yes. It's good to be here. Let's get on the way.
Let's go. And we thought we'll do a bit of a season review as a whole for the AFL this week.
All of it.
Not just the teams, just everything from the fixture to the way...
It's a big conversation.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Leaning back.
Strap in, like the boy said. Strap in. Where do we want to start?
Let's start with the fixture.
Okay.
Let's start with the fixture.
Does Nabil have any problems with the AFL fixture?
I always have problems with the fixture. Always have problems with the fixture.
Yep.
Opening round. We'll start right there. There's big drama around that, whether it worked, whether it wasn't.
Survey says,
No. I'm a fan.
I'm not a fan.
I'm a fan.
Fantastic.
I like opening round. I think it's
discussion.
good exposure in the northern states. Don't get me wrong. As an AFL man, I'm itching for sport to be played in Melbourne, but for the growth of the game in those states, Sydney,
I have a question.
Queensland, bloody play it in Tasmania. They should have opening around in Tasmania. It's good exposure.
They need to build a stadium in Tasmania first.
We're going to talk about that in a separate video, by the way. Tassie Stadium.
I think it's a waste of time. I think it's just... You know why? I feel like it disrupts the beginning of the season because some teams play and then they have a bye 2 weeks in.
They're professionals. They can adjust. These are professional football clubs.
I agree with that, but it's more so like if you want to grow the game in the northern states, do what they did with Adelaide. Just give them, dedicate around to them.
They don't deserve gather round. No, they don't deserve
I'm not saying give them gather round. I'm not saying give them gather round. I'm just saying just give them... Bro, the AFL loves to slap a name on a round and just hand it to somebody for something.
Just
do that.
It sells papers.
Instead of gather round, call it... Not gathering round, I don't know, bro. Call us something and just give it to New South Wales and then a week or a month later do something else and just give it to Queens. Like,
I like it. I
feel like it's a waste of time.
It doesn't feel like the AFL season started, but it gives great exposure to teams like GWS and Gold Coast, more so than Brisbane and Sydney established clubs. So not completely opposed to it. I think they are scrapping it, by the way. My understanding, I think there's rumours scrapping it. I'm not sure.
You know what they should do?
What?
They should play State of Origin, and they should play it somewhere in one of those states. That will give a great exposure. You bring the best players in the country and play them all against each other. Here's your exposure. I found you a solution to opening round AFL. Opening round. I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan of, and I think a couple of clubs.
They don't like it. Collingwood.
One being Collingwood.
I think Carlton said the same last season. We don't want to
leave us out of this shit. And I think it was GWS or someone said, since when do teams get to pick what they can and can't, or what they're allowed to and not allowed to do? So
I do want to ask you about the fixture, though. Do you know how they released the second half of the fixture later in the season?
Yeah.
Do you have an issue with that?
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, not so much that they released the second half of the... You know what I have an issue with, actually? Now that you mentioned with the fixture? I have an issue with the way they released the ticketing for the AFL games. I don't know if you guys think we have unlimited AMX cards or some shit. Brother, they release 15 rounds of games at a time. Who is going to buy 15... Okay, maybe not 15 games, but like 5 or 6 games worth of tickets in one go. That's the problem I have with the fixture, actually.
Yeah.
And even the floating...
us, man.
Well, if you talk about that floating fixture bullshit...
Yeah, the floating fixture.
They put some stupid games...
They can't get it right.
At stupid times. They'll play like... St Kilda West Coast on a Thursday night and they call it prime time Thursday night. Like, I don't understand that type of shit.
How many Thursday night games they give Essendon.
Yeah,
Even Carlton.
dead rubbers.
Neither of those teams.
So in my head, I'm like, if you guys are making it a floating fixture,
get it right.
look at the teams that are playing well and fixture them to play during the prime times. Why the hell are you playing rubbish games or rubbish teams at times that are not going to help? Like,
You're not wrong.
They call Thursday night a prime time, don't they?
Yeah, it is prime time.
Why are you playing Essendon and St Kilda in that time? I don't understand.
They got it wrong. And I'm not defending them. I think
a lot of things they're getting wrong, brother. I'm
So,
just, do you have a problem with it?
the floating fixture, I don't mind it. My issue with it really is a lot of football players plan their season around the football team. You and I both do it. We look at our weekends and we sort of say, Carlton, Collingwood, I play on this day. My plans for the weekend is going to go around that. And a lot of fans, especially those that travel interstate or from the country of Victoria or wherever it is, they plan their entire season, whether it's flights, accommodation, all of that around the floating fixture. So my view on it is they're going to get it wrong anyway. You might as well release the full fixture and let fans do their planning and organisation and whatever. The entire organisations plan their organisational things around football, the football fixture. So get it right.
Agree. Yeah, it's either do it from the beginning, and if it's a mess from the beginning, fair enough, it's locked in. If you're gonna do a floating fixture,
get
at
it
least,
right.
you know,
so
quit playing these rubbish games and rubbish teams.
That's my view on it. It's not great.
It's not great. What do you think about the Melbourne clubs and the Thursday, Friday night stories?
Yeah, I'm all for it.
You just mentioned about Essendon and shit playing.
You know what? Only Victorians watch football. Well, respectfully, and I say this to every other state. I know South Australia,
can
WA.
We say majority? I don't think only.
Yeah, the other states do, the other states are football states, but Victorians are always tuning in football. So
it's the football.
I have no problem with with Melbourne clubs playing on Thursday, Friday night.
So you think Melbourne, St Kilda, and Melbourne should play each other on a Friday night?
Yeah, because you get a lot more people in Victoria still tuning in.
Fair enough.
So, and the other thing is this time zone challenges around playing WA on a Thursday. Playing games in WA
that I agree with. I think.
On a Thursday, Friday night. Same in South Australia, that half an hour back. So, you got to have a Victorian team on a
Friday or Thursday night, or have a big
big Melbourne clubs. So.
Well, AFL next season, the fixture hasn't come out yet.
Carlton can play every Friday night all season.
I don't know about that. If you guys are playing half decently, sure. If you guys are putting up the rubbish you put up this year.
We get too many Friday night games we don't deserve, I'll be honest.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it's also a business. So if you can get 80,000 people in every week, even if your team's playing rubbish, the AFL's not going to complain about that. No. It's great for them. Gather round.
Yeah, big fan.
Big fan?
Love Gather Round. I like that it's in South Australia.
We've slandered Adelaide before.
I think they've earned it. They've done a great job of it. So, for it.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think there's anything interesting in South Australia or anything interesting.
I agree. Okay. I agree on that.
So I think the fact that they've taken Gather Round has... I feel like it's almost given South Australia, not only the map, it's given them a bit of an identity, to be completely honest with you. I know we're slandering a whole state, but I feel like it has. It's great, the whole weekend, the festivity. I think it's during a public holiday weekend. So it gives everybody that chance to be like, let's go down to Adelaide and watch this and watch that. Granted, there's nothing else that happens except for the footy during that weekend. People have never ever said, I went down to Adelaide and I had a great time. They'll be like, I went down to Adelaide for this and I left as soon as I was done.
I went for Gather Round.
So we're a fan of Gather Round.
Yeah, we're going to go there next year,
hopefully. Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, I don't think Gather Round is a bad idea. I was saying earlier, I think if they're going to promote the game in other states, then they should just slap a name.
Other states will do it as well as South Australia. I haven't been there, but I've seen it.
You know, an empty cup, you can fill it. When it's full already, you cannot put anything in it. That is the analogy I'm going to give for South Australia, which is why it's great.
Outrageous.
Yeah, so Gather Round, not bad, fair enough. The buyers.
I don't know. Indifferent. I don't know. 2 buyers. Prefer 1 buy as opposed to sort of 2 buys. I don't like the fact that for 3 or 4 weeks during the season, there's not as many teams playing.
You took my point there.
Yeah, so that part I don't like.
4 weeks of buys.
Yeah, maybe it's just.
I think they're wasting a lot of time.
1 week of buys.
Not even 1 week. Even if they do it 2 weeks and they just half the teams.
There's too many weekends with less footy.
Because I don't know if opening round's happening now or next year, but if it is, there's already going to be a bunch of teams that have buys
early in the season.
3 round, 5, all that kind of stuff. So then 10 weeks later, having another set of buys,
it's a lot.
I think it's a waste of time. So AFL,
I think
keep your buys to 2 weeks. We're not.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I agree.
There's one thing I want to say about the fixture
tell me.
before we move on. I think they should cap the AFL fixture to 20 games.
No. I
hear me
want
out,
more
hear me-
footy,
no,
not
hear
less.
Me, hear me out. Hear
Okay,
me out.
okay,
Hear me out.
okay.
So what I think should happen is, and I've kind of noticed this happens in other sports as well, they should play every team against each other once.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, 18 teams now?
Yeah.
By the time Tasmania comes in, 19. So there'll be 17 games.
Yeah.
So your team will play 17 games in the year. And then they'll pick the 3 biggest crowd-attracting games. So let's say
Carlton,
Collingwood, Carlton,
Yeah,
Essendon, I don't know who else.
Essendon, Hawthorn,
Whatever it is.
West Coast for whatever
Yeah,
it is,
so, and you play every one of those games twice. So let's say Collingwood and Carlton, they play each other twice. Collingwood and Essendon, Carlton, Essendon, they play each other twice. Collingwood and, I don't know, whoever, or Carlton, whoever, they play each other twice. That makes a 20-game season.
Yeah.
Now, when you take away all those extra little buys that they put in between, it'll cut down the season. You'll cut down the season by maybe 2 weeks anyway.
Yeah, I get that.
And then you have a
it's probably a more even fixture. My view is,
Brother,
I agree with you.
You know
It makes
why
the
I
fixture
say
more-
this?
Why do you say it?
Because at the end of last season, Geelong were playing Richmond, North Melbourne, West Coast, St Kilda, like all the teams at the bottom of the table for 6 weeks straight.
I know.
So that's not really even if you're asking me. The team that's in the top 2 is playing.
The fixture's uneven anyway, so maximise the amount of footy we get. So,
But I'm saying
I want
is
25 rounds, not I want
25 rounds.
I want more footy, not less.
But okay, so should they play? Okay, if you say 25 rounds or more than whatever it is now, less buys. That means there's going to be more teams playing each other twice
I
throughout
have
the
no
year.
problem with that. More
Fair
games
enough.
of footy.
Well, they're both great concepts.
Yeah,
so
we'll see which one the AFL picks.
Or, not even that. We'll just see what everybody else thinks
That's
about
true.
that.
That's true.
Sound off in the comments about this stuff.
Yeah, tell us more. Yeah, what your thoughts on the fixture is.
That was part of, or I think a big part of this season and the fixture.
It was.
There was something else that you said you wanted to talk about this week.
Yes.
Which has been
Yes.
itching.
I've been itching. Oh, so the outrage culture. Anytime a football player does something, you've got media headline stories. We talk about it here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about it, and there's a player, there's a player I'm going to talk about. You know who I'm going to be talking about.
Absolutely.
He's one of my favorite players. I compare him to the LeBron James of the AFL. In the sense that he's a personality, he's a big personality.
Yep.
And to somewhat, we haven't seen something like this before. Bailey Smith, yeah.
absolutely.
So
outrage culture. Let's start
outrage
off with
culture.
that.
We'll start with that, and then we'll touch on Bailey Smith.
Yep. And a whole lot of other
yeah,
things.
and everything else in between.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the outrage culture in the AFL?
I don't like it.
Do we think people are too dramatic?
Nah, I don't like it. But you know what? We live in an era of clickbait. That's the
I
problem.
understand that, but
It
it's
gets
just-
clicks.
It's like, do you know
Big
how
headline sells newspapers. It sells media.
it always has?
sells
to be
subscriptions.
honest.
And that's the world we live in.
But do I think people have now started to backtrack a lot after being dramatic about something?
Absolutely.
Like they'll come out and be like, "This happened," and then like a week later or a couple of days later, they'll be like, "Okay, it wasn't that deep.
yeah.
It wasn't that serious."
You know what?
Like
The damage is done at that point.
that's my point.
That's the thing.
That's
The
why I'm
damage
saying
done,
is the
yeah.
issue. Like after you come out, it's like someone getting in trouble for something.
Yeah.
Guilty until proven innocent instead of the other way around.
Absolutely.
Like you slam somebody and go crazy at them, and then after the fact realize, oh no, like that wasn't
my
the
bad.
case. Like,
They didn't deserve
what the
it.
hell's my bad gonna change?
Yeah,
after
too
that,
late.
You know what I'm
The
saying?
damage
You've
is
really-
done. The guy you've affected his career. He might lose sponsorships. He might lose brands. The damage is done. And your apologies. No one looks at your apologies. So
So do we think that
It's-
people or in the AFL landscape, generally in the world too,
yeah,
but like
no,
more
it's
so,
the media, and not
Yeah.
even the media, the public and the ecosystem, the football ecosystem.
Yeah, I agree. Do we think people should probably take maybe a step back before they go crazy about something?
We just, it's like we
I know it
want
won't
things
happen,
now.
let's be
We want
honest,
things
yeah.
now. We want to make comments. We
Yeah.
want to. We jump on something happens in the football landscape.
Yep.
We're here next week. We're talking about it.
Yep,
We're putting our 2 cents. So it's this ecosystem that feeds into it. So yes, they should, but
Yeah.
I think more so
But human
a
nature
step
says it
back and
won't.
just like let these football players be.
Not just the football
And
players.
let these issues be. Just most of the time it's really not that deep, bro.
That's exactly my point. Like, it's not that serious.
And I want to use an example. I know we're going to be talking about Snoop Dogg. Like,
the
bro,
outrage that poured
my days.
when they announced him, and people are just like, it's not my cup of tea. I don't like this,
Snoop
blah, blah,
Dogg,
blah.
And who's this guy?
And you know what's crazy about all that? Again, once it was all said and done and the dust has settled, everybody was just like, oh, that was a pretty great performance.
Bro, he killed it.
Snoop Dogg. Like,
he killed it.
Snoop Dogg. Like, it's expected.
He killed it.
But what I'm saying is the crazy that people went prior to it happening. And when the AFL first announced it, they're just like, why the hell are they bringing Snoop Dogg? It was talked about in some Senate meeting or some parliament meeting. Someone just like, why the hell are they bringing Snoop Dogg and why can't they pick somebody? I'm just like, yo.
Bro, he was so much better than Meatloaf 2 seasons ago.
Not only that, they had a crazy about that to the point where they're just like, Katy Perry, when she came last year to the grand final, they were ecstatic about it.
Yeah.
And this year when they announced Snoop Dogg, let's be honest, I don't actually think the majority of the audience can relate to Snoop Dogg's music.
I get that.
So I get that.
I understand that. No.
It almost reminds me of the Kendrick performance at the Super Bowl earlier this year. So I get that.
No.
But in terms of attraction, like if you asked me, hey, would you like? I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. I would have gone to the grand final just to watch the Snoop Dogg.
Absolutely, bro.
Performance.
Normally,
even if it's 15 or 20 minutes,
absolutely.
I would have gone for that.
And normally, I don't really care for the pre-game stuff.
Yep.
Because we were driving, I was listening to it, and man, it felt like, it was such a great performance.
The energy was great.
It was unbelievable.
So the way people were outraged about it prior to it happening, and like we mentioned, after the fact, they're just like, oh, it was a great performance. It was amazing.
I know so many people that went back and watched just Snoop Dogg's performance.
So the outrage culture is outrageous. And one person you did want to talk about.
Bailey Smith. Now, let me be very, very clear. I don't agree with 90% of what Bailey Smith does, all right? We'll put it aside. But this guy, you know what I love about Bailey Smith and what I respect about him? This guy is 100% himself. All the time. Love him or hate him, this guy, what you see is what you get.
Yep.
And another thing about Bailey Smith, he gets trashed all the time, but I know for a fact, and I'll say this is a fact, he's the first to sign autographs amongst Cats fans. Every time, last to leave. He gives back a lot to the fans. He goes up on stage during the All-Australian, talks about how he was spent a month in a psych ward. He's 22 years old. This guy is a young man at the prime of his career, and he's talking about being in a psych ward. That does more for mental health than a lot of other things that have been a lot of other mental health sort of issues.
This guy's 23, 24?
23, yeah.
So
bro, he's
basically a kid still.
Unapologetically himself. Give the guy a break.
Yeah,
seriously, like everything he does, Bailey Smith.
There was a specific article that got brought up.
So Caroline Wilson, and look, I love Caroline Wilson, I really do, and I mean that. I'm actually a big fan of her journalism, and big fan of the work she does in the media.
I don't think her work's a problem. I think that outrage culture we're talking about, part of it.
Fair, but I'm a big fan.
From my point of view anyway.
And I don't agree with what Bailey Smith did. Let me be, again, very, very clear on that. But I give him a break. Like this guy, he's done more for the game in 2 seasons than so many other footballers. Many other footballers. My issue, though, is if this guy wasn't the star he is, he would have been delisted.
You know what I think
he doesn't pay the tax.
He reminds me of a kid in school who was academically very smart, but he was the biggest troublemaker. And the school or his teachers or the coordinators, they couldn't do anything about it because this kid's smart. He actually does and he achieves academically. But he's such a nuisance to deal with.
The teachers never hated him. That's the thing. You know, that kid teachers don't really hate. They're just like cheeky almost.
Yeah, but it's almost because, like you said, as good as he is on one side, he's causing a lot of problems on the other side. So they kind of offsets each other. So that's very interesting. And speaking of Bailey Smith and Geelong, they had a wild Mad Monday celebration.
They did. So again,
was all over the news.
So. Again, let's take a step back. Again, I agree with the public or whatever. Let's just take a step back.
Back to the outrage culture we were talking about before.
Let these guys do them. I get it. They're in the media. They're in the public, whatnot. But I think that's about as far as I'll go and just say, leave them alone. Let them be.
I have a question.
We live in an era of mobile. Bro, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there was mobile phones during Mad Monday.
Someone said it recently. James Hurd.
Yeah.
He was on one of the radio shows
Yeah.
and he was talking about Mad Monday straight after this Geelong stuff came up. And he's like, some of the shit that we used to do was wild. But he's like, the only difference was there was no cameras.
No cameras.
He's like, the doors were locked. Once we enter, he's like, we'd rock up to the venue or wherever we're doing in our tracksuits and our t-shirts. He's like, no one would know what would happen inside. Once we got to the venue, they would lock the venue. He's like, some of them, he's like, things you would probably go to, okay, maybe not go to prison for, but like you would get cancelled for now.
Yeah.
He's like, we were doing back then. He probably would have got cancelled for it then. But he's like, no one saw it.
Yeah.
There was no camera phones. There was no media. No one knew what was happening up until you got into the venue.
Yeah.
And everybody that got into the venue was part of the football club and part of the administration. So no one would like intentionally leak or think anything. So he's like, it's the fact that, like you said, social media, camera phones, everything being around now, players rocking up to the venues, dressed as whatever it is. I have a question for you. What's crazier, the GWS Mad Monday or whatever it was earlier from this year or last year, or the Geelong stuff?
I don't want to compare because I think both of those things were not great.
The only reason
weren't great.
Why I bring that up is because the GWS CEO tried to make that comparison.
No, I agree.
And they dragged him for it.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to get into the details of
what happened
to either of those
I'm saying
things.
as a whole,
I
as a
just
picture.
think we need to take a step back. These are kids. Let them be.
I think people forget.
Like they're kids. They're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
They spent the last 6 months playing one of the toughest games in the world.
Yeah.
They, at a very high intensity. They've been training 12-hour days, 7 days a week, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Let them blow off some steam. As long as they're not harming anyone, they're doing behind closed doors. Let them be. Because, like, I guarantee you the stuff Bailey Smith does for the fans and for the football public and the attention for the game is just more than,
more than what anybody
else
any
does,
marketing or anything does.
So
I agree.
Use Bailey, just to keep harping on about Bailey Smith, he brings a whole new set of eyeballs to the game.
Oh, of course.
And I think that's great. I know a lot of people that don't follow footy.
Yeah.
They'll tell you who Bailey Smith is, one or another. So
the fact that the CEO of the AFL had to go to this guy's house to talk to him,
they know. The AFL knows this guy is
that's their marketing,
Yeah.
That's their whole marketing department right there.
Knows just finally, if you recall during the Brownlow, who all these Oakley glasses.
You know what I
those speed dealer.
Speed dealer glasses, there we go.
And I saw something about Oakley, just like they've had the insatiable demand for those glasses.
So it's not even just the AFL.
Nuts.
Now. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
The whole bloody Cotton On is associated with this guy, bro.
Yeah, that was another thing that came from the Mad Monday stuff. So, yeah, very interesting. Want to touch on, but have touched on throughout the season. Is the rules and the way the game has been officiated throughout this season. So we'll talk about a bit about that, and then we'll talk about some of the changes that we've kind of been informed of. So this year, holding the ball, concussion, tackling.
We've talked about all three.
All the three of them. If you want to include the umpiring, all that kind of stuff has happened. How do you think the officiating of the game has gone this year?
I'm always going to give the umpires a break because you get to the end of the football season, and throughout the football season, and I've noticed this for the last 10 years, I would say, every year there's outrage about umpires. Every single year. You get to the end of the season, it's like, So
I'm not even talking about the umpires alone.
Officiating, even the officiating. I think during the season you get sort of caught up in the week-to-week decisions, but on reflection, I don't think the umpiring was any worse.
I think it was horrendous, in
my
opinion.
I'd say that about every season for the last 5 years. You'll have that. You ask yourself at the end of every season in the last 5-10 years, how was the umpiring? Rubbish. I don't think this changes this year.
You know what I say?
Just because of this outrage culture more than anything.
Well, back to that again. Not so much the umpiring. I think what probably caught my attention, slightly even was a bit of an annoyance from my point of view to the general footy public, was the AFL backing not the okay or right things of the way the game was officiated.
Yeah.
So, for example, if the umpire made a horrible decision on the weekend, right? Example, Lockie Short situation earlier against Freo. The AFL everybody's finding somebody to throw under the bus. The AFL, even if the umpires do the wrong thing, AFL will either be like, oh, we don't have anything to say about it, or when the umpires did what they were supposed to do, rather than going, hey, they got this wrong, or hey, this is not okay, or hey, we don't want this to happen, and actually standing on business and just kind of going, and kind of just brushing it away. I think that was more of the problem. Like the umpire stuff, yeah, sure.
You want the AFL to call it out when they get it wrong.
Brother,
yeah, but
no one's perfect.
I get it.
So I don't think the AFL should try and either
the AFL
cover up.
also has a duty to defend their umpires.
No, I don't. I'm not saying don't defend them. I'm not saying don't defend them. I agree with that, right? But it's also like don't try and like blatantly like just say.
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? Like the whole world can see.
You know what?
The reaction.
It's going to be a problem if the AFL every week comes out and says our umpires get it wrong. Our umpires get it wrong. Our umpires get it wrong. Most of the time, these are 50-50 calls. Sometimes they're going to get it wrong. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes you and I, we discuss it all the time. We disagree on umpiring. We look at a decision. We're like, you're saying it's holding the ball. I'm saying it's a high tackle. We do that all the time. So I don't want the AFL to get involved in those 50-50s. The blatant ones, maybe, but the umpires, the AFL has a duty to protect its umpires.
That, but also, I also think of it from the point of view of like even things that don't concern the umpires, like we spoke about this Mabio Chol tackle on Tom Stewart in the prelim that he got suspended for.
I don't agree with
Paul
that.
Curtis, the same thing very early on in the season. Things like that where it doesn't technically concern the umpires. Yeah. It concerns the AFL in the way they, I guess, dictate the ruling or they implement the ruling. Yeah. And things like that where a player does something that's a football act that's right. Now, the repercussions of that causes someone injury, causes somebody...
It does.
Like, something negative...
With that, though, the AFL, again, we've discussed this many times as well. With these issues, there's bigger issues. The AFL is thinking about its future. It's thinking about lawsuits. It's thinking about the brand. So it's going to make these rules decisions, and it's going to change the way the game is played because of the bigger issue, bigger AFL thing. It's like, just quickly, I'm going to veer left, and you just come with me.
Okay.
The AFL gave West Coast a sort of assistance package. Yep. Andrew Gaze on the run home on SCN pointed out the AFL probably gave it. West Coast probably didn't deserve it. They didn't play in a grand final but the AFL was thinking about its broader financial concerns, right? A stronger West Coast is better for the AFL in terms of TV ratings, in terms of engagement with your WA audience. So the AFL is thinking about these bigger issues that sometimes I don't necessarily think as fans we may see.
So it's more of a corporate and a business side of things.
There's always a commercial angle. And I don't have a problem with the AFL doing that, taking care of the finances, thinking about these broader issues. And that's why I think the AFL does a lot of these things they do, or take the angle they do. They're thinking about, there's like a bird's eye view. What does it mean for us in terms of money, with TV audience, this,
at
that?
the end of the day, it's a business.
It's a business.
I understand that. It's just, like I said, as a consumer, as a fan, people watch that and go like, why? How the hell does that make sense?
I agree.
Like, from my point of view, like the concussion and the tackling situation that I was talking about, it doesn't change that the player got concussed.
I agree.
You suspend this guy for 3 weeks, for 4 weeks. It doesn't change the fact that this guy got concussed. Now, is that going to potentially stop a lawsuit later on down the track because the AFL decided to suspend the guy that did that act? So it's like we're actually trying to stop this thing from happening.
I think so.
But it also
that's the
kind
angle
of
they're taking, because
I feel like
they're going to protect the brand. They're going to protect the AFL and the brand AFL, and it comes at a price.
I guess so. To be honest, it's very frustrating as a fan.
I agree.
To see that happen, because you're just like, what was that person supposed to do? And I think I've said this
I agree. As a consumer,
50 times.
I agree. As a consumer, it is frustrating. But we'll have to keep moving to the other rule changes.
Absolutely.
Quick thoughts on this one. The sub rule. They've scrapped it. Chris Scott, very, very happy man.
I don't understand why he was happy.
But 5 on the bench now. Five on the bench. Rotations.
So these are rule changes for next year that have been introduced.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the sub rule being scrapped. I actually genuinely thought the sub rule would have worked if they had 4 on the bench and had multiple subs even.
Oh, okay.
Which obviously is not traditionally part of the AFL and all that kind of stuff. So I think the sub rule being scrapped is great. I think having 5 on the bench is great. Now, what I don't think is great is the fact that they've kept the rotations at the same number.
Why?
Well, because if you have an extra player now that you're rotating, let's say that extra 5th player plays a normal game like everybody else. He doesn't sit on the bench for half the game or 2.5 quarters and then comes on. Now you're using an extra rotation every single time someone rotates. You're using up more rotations. For the game, most AFL teams use almost there's 75 rotations to cap, right? They use, I'd say, 68 to 72, right?
They use most of it.
All of it. Yeah. Now you bring in a 5th player. You're not going to rotate that 5th player 4 times in the game to just make up the last couple of numbers, right? So from my point of view, it's like, what the hell's the point of
increase rotations and
by 5, by 10? If they made the rotations 80 or 85 or 90 even, and they say 5 players, you divide that 90 by 5 times. How many times your midfield is going to come off? How many times your centre bounce guys are going to come off? How many times are the half forward like?
You're going to see more midfielders like your likes of Cripps and Bontempelli and Dawson
resting forward.
Even
rotating.
Nick Dacos, same. We go half back or go forward
Because you can. Again, if you have 5 players on the bench that are rotating as frequently as they are, and we're already reaching that cap or coming very close to it.
That's a really good point.
Which is why
get spoken about.
I agree with, and I heard this again on SEN when they were talking about it. I said, the fact that they scrapped the sub rule because there was so much confusion about it. They brought it in for medical reasons. Then it became like a tactical thing. Then it became a joke where they were like playing veterans, making them the sub and bringing them in. Scott Penderbury halfway through the game and shit. So I'm just like, it became redundant for the purpose it was brought in for. And a long time ago they had it. They scrapped it and they brought it back. So
they did have it.
They had it in like 2011, 12, something like that. And then they scrapped it.
2015,
and then they scrapped it and then they brought it back. So the fact that they've gotten rid of it, I agree. The fact that they have not increased the rotations, I think we're going to see a lot of problems come with that. The
centre bounce.
I think we had this argument or this conversation.
I love the centre bounce, man. It's so... As a traditionalist,
exactly what the conversation took place last time we had this conversation.
Leave the centre bounce.
What are your thoughts?
Leave it. I want the centre bounce at a minimum at the start of every quarter. They should not be scrapped. It's so iconic.
I agree with you. So to officiate at the beginning of the game every quarter, I think we said this not too long ago when we were having a chat about something related to this. They should have it at the beginning of the game to officiate at the start of the game. They should have it at the beginning of every quarter. I think they should not have it after every goal's kicked. I don't think after every... That is what I think they should not do because the whole time wasting and shortening the quarters and all that, reducing stoppages and all that bullshit. I think for that reason, yes, there should be a a ball up after every goal and after restarting the game. Start of the game, start of the quarters, bounce the ball once. You mess up that bounce once, it's not the end of the world. But scrapping it completely... I think, like you said, it takes away from that iconic...
It's so iconic.
So,
big fan of the centre bounce. And the last one, and then I think I want to have a broader discussion about these rule changes in a minute. But the out of bounds between the arcs is now they're looking at introducing that to be a free kick. So between the arcs, so that meant between the 50 and between the 50 50s, if it's like essentially the last touch rule. What are your thoughts? And this is one I don't think we've discussed.
I'm gonna agree with you, and I'm gonna say I'm a traditionalist when it comes to this.
I agree too.
I think they should keep the. You know why? Because they already have a rule in place for that called the deliberate rule.
But we've been told we've destroyed
no. I agree. Intent, brother. It's crazy the way sometimes they officiate that rule. But I think it's already in place.
Yeah, it is.
Where if I grab the ball and intentionally walk over the line, they're going to give it to the other team.
Yeah, they will. Enough, right? Yeah.
But if we have a massive contest, it's kicked long down the line, and then someone punches it over the line, I feel like now they're going to cause problems for themselves because then they're going to go back to video review. Who punched it last? Who touched it last?
More issues.
Who's this? Two guys that have the ball, they get tackled over the line. Who had the ball? Who touched the ball? So I think it's just going to cause more confusion. We already have the deliberate or insufficient rule. Granted, it doesn't get officiated the greatest all the time.
Officiate that better.
Again, exactly. Officiate it better. It won't bring this problem of... But like I said, now that they brought this in, the next thing that's going to happen is...
problems.
Okay, instead of just goal line technology, we're going to need boundary line technology, we're going to need center of the ground technology. Like, it's just going to turn it into another just craze that's going to happen. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you. I absolutely... No. I absolutely agree with you. I don't like it. Leave it. I get it. Apparently it worked in the SANFL and it was quite popular. Last touch of the bounds. But bro, it doesn't work. I don't mind it if it goes out of bounds. If there's a contest, you need the boundary line, whatever. You're clever enough to not get caught for insufficient intent. You know what? You're taking that risk.
Absolutely.
And if you're playing the percentages, all right, I'll let it go out of bounds, whatever. So, yeah, I don't like it. And more broadly, and there was a caller in Dwayne's World said this during the week. We both consume a lot of SEN.
Brother, for people that don't know the amount of footy content that goes into his brain.
So he said there's too many rule changes.
I agree.
Every year, at the end of the football season, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 rule changes.
Agree.
Leave the game alone.
I agree. And not only that, it just creates more confusion,
it does.
More misunderstanding, more, I don't know how this is interpreted, because throughout this season, for example, coaches, players, staff, fans,
Yeah.
the media. There's no one that hasn't said we don't understand how the holding the ball rule is officiated.
Exactly.
Nobody understands it. They're like,
Exactly.
the players and coaches go, we don't know how to coach this. We don't know how to teach this to players. One tackle turns into hold the ball. The other one turns into in the back. The other one turns into dangerous tackle. The other one. So they're just like, the more changes that come, if it's not broken, don't fix it type shit.
I just want 4 or 5 seasons where they make no rule changes. That's all I ask for.
Very simple.
Just leave the game alone.
I agree.
Leave it.
I agree.
It doesn't work. I think soccer, and the caller made a really good point. So there's only been 2 rule changes in soccer, and look, soccer fans will absolutely destroy me if I get this wrong, but the offside rule, I think there was a change to it where you can be in line.
Yep.
And the other rule was passing back to the keeper or something like that.
Oh, passing the ball back to the keeper, intentionally.
So those are the only 2 rule changes in soccer in a very, very long time.
There you go.
Very long time.
Global sport.
Global sport.
So,
but the AFL, every season, you're talking 2, 3, 4 rule changes. Let it go. Let the game evolve, bro.
I genuinely just, like, this is me talking shit, but I genuinely feel like the football operations people just get bored and they're like, what can we make different next year? Like, why? It's almost like, why do we have to keep shit the same?
Yeah.
Which I think is very, very difficult for a lot of people to understand. I'm saying, as a consumer and as a fan, we don't understand it. I can imagine the people that are employed in this whole world going, hey, I actually don't know how to do my job now. I don't know how to teach this. I don't know how to execute this. I don't know how to officiate. Like, back to, I know I've given the umpires so much shit this year, but I also low-key think it goes back to this. The fact that there's so many rule changes, I understand to a degree why the umpires struggle so much.
I don't blame them.
So, the overall rule changes, brother, please just don't change the rules. Just keep it the way it is.
Let it run for a couple more seasons.
Let things mess up. Like, if things not hit the fan, but they look like they're hitting the fan, it's so bad. Fair enough. I understand.
Otherwise,
just let it be, man.
Just finally, I know we're going to keep it moving. Yeah. It's not just the rules that change; it's the interpretation that changes every season too. Just keep the interpretation. All right, this year you're sort of saying this is how we're going to do pay insufficient intent. This is how we're going to pay holding the ball. Do the same next season. Don't change the interpretation on us.
Prime example, not only they change the interpretation after the season, they change it in the season.
In season, spot on.
Paul Curtis, I keep bringing this up.
I know.
Got done for 3 weeks for the same tackle that supposedly Mabio Chol did in the prelim.
I know.
Mabio Chol, his 3 weeks got removed, but Paul Curtis early in the year got 3 weeks for it.
Switched up the interpretation.
Not in the middle of the season per se, but in season.
It is. They do that all the time.
I think
there's a rule of the week, man.
Yeah, that almost. So in terms of the rule changes, brother, keep the centre bounce shit. Don't kill the tradition. The sub rule, I'm glad you got rid of it, but again, it's what I realized. Even when I'm saying this as a bit of a outlandish remark, but even when they change certain things for the better, there's just something they don't like. They don't change with it, or they don't adjust with it.
And
for
it's
example,
always go on.
Which is like the sub rule. They've scrapped it, but they haven't changed the rotation numbers, so it doesn't help.
Yeah.
So, that's how I feel about it.
And the fans know it. The fans see it. But I don't know.
Sometimes I just wonder if the fans will do a better job at running this shit than the AFL. But
fans have a good eye for the game.
We just want things to be better, and we just want to enjoy it.
Wraps us up.
I think that wraps us up for this week. Is there anything else that we want to mention before we close it up?
No. I think that wraps us up for today. Not that I don't want this to keep going. Certainly enjoy talking footy.
Yep.
But as usual, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see you guys back next week.
Actually, are we having an episode next week?
Or the week after? Well, maybe the week after, but we'll still have plenty of content coming out next week. So.
But with that, take care of yourselves, guys. Ciao.